G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. We'll be bringing you another game from Alliance Naniwa in the bottom right hand corner as our red Protoss in the top left hand. Well, it's really the top centre, isn't it, when you look at the map? Well, the top centre, it's our blue Zerg Targa. Now, not as familiar with his play, but looking forward to seeing what he has for us in this game today. Naniwa, of course, a Protoss player full of shenanigans. We've seen another of his games on the channel that'll be uploaded today, so it won't spoil that one, but always a lot of fun to see them play. And the map is Polar Night, which I gotta say, having played it, is quite a weird map to play on. One, because of this very central positioning of both players. You see, you can take a natural down here, you go down your ramp to your natural, you have a fairly large sized choke to try and hold that, but on top of that you have destructible rocks leading to a third base and another path of attack towards your natural and main, so you end up with quite some weird positioning on this map. You can end up with quite weird travel routes for your units. Can develop into a base race fairly easily because of the circuitous routes that units can take around the edges of the map. And particularly potent for things like air units, can harass from almost every angle. If you look at where the main's positioned, there is literally play area all around it. It's not like maps which tuck the base away in like the bottom or top corner. There is literally a 360 degree line of assault on this base, so very hard to use sort of static defense to keep you safe. And as I discovered yesterday when I was fooling around with some meching Terran, very hard to stop frustrating things like blink stalkers popping up into your main. I took a quick expansion, was getting it set up and secured, and the cheeky little bugger came up and just warped into the corner of my blinked into the corner of my base, and unfortunately most of my very static mech defense was on the low ground. So you can a lot of different ways to play this out as Protoss, and I imagine it could be phenomenally difficult for Protoss once Zerg make it to Mutalisk. So we'll see if Targa does indeed go for that Mutalisk playstyle. We can see that he's gone for quite a quick 3 bases, has 3 bases on the way at the 3 minute mark or 4 minute mark, 2 finished, 1 still on the way, and a spawning pool going down now. So luckily for him, Naniwa didn't go for any particular early aggression with a mothership core and stalkers, otherwise could have been in a bit of a difficult position. And having watched quite a few of Naniwa's games, I gotta say he is quite prone to the early aggression, and you don't see him as often go for longer macro styles. He very much likes to go for cheeky tech choices like for example, quick Stargates, very common out of him. Like in the other game we saw quite quick High Templars with Storm very early out on the map. Naniwa very unpredictable, so I think it's a bit bold for Targa to take 3 bases as spread out as these are, and I think we're going to see Naniwa drop a pylon here and put a lot of pressure on this third base. No, 6 Zerglings on the way, but Zergling speed nowhere to be found. And I think we're going to see this game underway quite quickly. Targa can see that the wall-in's not quite completed, so will he go for the main base of Naniwa, or will he work on preserving this base? So this mothership core and zealot's going to irritate these Zerglings all day long, force a warp in of a lot of Zerglings here. You can see that with just a little bit of pressure from the mothership core and a single zealot, he's managed to force the production. There's already 10 Zerglings on the map, and we have another 8 in production, so that's unfortunately for him. Catch Naniwa, the pylon's caught and picked off, so he won't be in a position to put a lot of pressure on this base. But you can see just this zealot and queen are gonna, if he takes out this queen, he's gonna be in a great position to continue harassing. So another queen out, unfortunately for Naniwa. He is gonna snipe this queen. He does get the pick off there. Zealot's now gone, so it's going to force the mothership core a little bit away. And you have a lot of look at the amount of Zerglings. A lot of the advantage to getting those 3 quick hatcheries is the extra lava, and all that lava was forced to be committed to these Zerglings. So Bob the Zealot on guard at the front door, and he's going to be beating on Zerglings all day long. Sentry's already here, 2 in the main base forcing Overlord away. you just aren't going to be able to break this with Zerglings as Targa. I'd be very surprised. As soon as you do enough damage, the building force fields will come out. Have 2 more sentries here. I'd be surprised if you don't see them force field this gateway. Extra Zealots able to deal with those Stalkers there, and will have a very profitable units lost tab, I predict. In fact, yep, Naniwa going 2 to 1 with these Zerglings. Up to 400 damage for very little losses in return. So, nice. That's generally what you sort of expect out of Zerg, particularly when they're playing very greedy like this. They won't trade very cost efficiently, but the extra mining that they do have will help them to be able to continue to produce and power on. Naniwa choosing to put up a Phoenix, take out these Overlords. So we'll see if he follows this up with him. Void Ray, so interesting choice out of Naniwa. Only going for the 1 Phoenix to pick off Overlords and do a bit of scouting. We see in fact that we do have a Roach Warren on the way in the main for Targa. And it looks like Naniwa might well be ahead of the curve on this push that we'll see. It's likely we'll see quite a number of Roaches out of Targa, and Naniwa should have 2 or 3 Void Rays on the map by then. So, 2 more Stargates coming down. Now this and a 3rd base from Naniwa. So we'll see what Targa does to respond to this, and if he does indeed scout it. If we look for that Phoenix of Naniwa's, it's not currently doing a whole lot. Shame that. Oh, how did these Zerglings get in? Sneaky, sneaky. I have no idea how those managed to make it in. Was Bob the Zealot not on guard? He must have been taking a nap, because 6 Zerglings got into the base and proving to be a little bit of a pest, but they'll get cleaned up by these warped in Zealots. You have this Phoenix just continuing to be a pest. Any distraction you can get on your opponent, very useful. For example, annoying him at his base while he's trying to annoy you at yours will distract him and force him to focus on your other units. So we have 3 gateways up for Naniwa, and this is actually quite an interesting tech choice for Naniwa. The reason being, we know that the Roach Warren's on the way for Targa. Hydralisk Den is as well, so the Roach Warren, quite likely that Targa could try and pressure this 3rd base with Roaches, but Naniwa already 3 Stargates up. With Mass Void Ray coming on the way, we have 1 on the field, 3 coming. So any Roach pushes from Targa are going to be ripped apart by these Void Rays, and if Targa decides to use his gas from 3 bases to go to Mutalisk, well, within 40 seconds Naniwa could have 3 or 4 Phoenix on the field, and Phoenix versus Mutalisk is a very one-sided fight for anyone that can micro those Phoenix. Able to move and shoot, they just rip the Mutalisks apart. So, quite interesting game developing here. Targa taking a 4th base. Quite close to Naniwa. You can see on this map, your 4th base. Surprised to not see him take the much safer location behind him. This base is going to be very susceptible to warp-ins, not to mention any Void Ray play. Have a few Roaches moving out here, but those Roaches will not be able to deal with this Protoss force that we have sitting in the middle of the map. So a few Hydras on the way, but 4 Hydras isn't going to be enough. Naniwa can see these forces. Will he be able to force field these Roaches? That would be a great pickup. Roaches obviously can see that coming, being sitting on the watchtower, and they're going to fall back. Nice creep spread out of Targa. We have some macro hatches out now, and it looks to be getting this map covered in creep quite quickly. A lot of Queens on the way. A lot of Roach Hydra moving around. The creep is pretty vital to keep the movement speed up. You'll see Hydras get slowed quite substantially when they're off creep. There is an upgrade to help with that, but even that, they tend to still be slower than you would like. So creep very important when you're going for a Roach Hydra playstyle. A few investors on the way. Do we have pathogen glands yet? Yep, pathogen glands already picked up as well. So we see Targa in a great position to be able to engage this force. Fungal growth very good against Void Rays, which are well known for clumping up. This creep spread is going to let Targa know what's coming. We don't have any detection on the field yet for Naniwa, so this spreading creep is going to be quite safe. The other perk to having creep ever is it forces the proxy pylons for warp-ins to be much further away. This is sort of as close as Naniwa can establish a pylon at this point, because the creep is progressively getting further and further across the map. So just a little detail, but one that is important nevertheless. big Zerg force, or Naniwa could be caught in a poor position here. Time Warp going down to slow these units. Nice force fields there are going to prevent a lot of these units from engaging. Force fields almost all the way around, but yep, Mothership recall to get out of there because that is a terrible engagement. Look at the concave, even with the force field, you had Zerg forces almost almost with a complete surround. Naniwa getting out of there just in time. So mass recalling to his third base. We have a maxed out Zerg at the 14-minute mark, 200 supply on the field to 130 supply of Naniwa. We'll see if Targa is able to make something out of this, bringing his Queens along, knowing that Queens are very cost effective against Protoss, particularly against the Void Rays. Queens do quite well against Void Rays, able to transfuse each other, be very cost effective, and on the plus side they cost absolutely no gas, which is quite rare for pretty much every Zerg unit that's useful. So we see Targa just forcing his way through the front gate here. Mass amounts of Queens being used to try and bring down this Protoss Armada. Have units being warped in. Can these Void Rays hold off these Roaches and Queens? Mass transfuse is keeping these Queens alive, and it's looking very bad for Naniwa. Down by 100 supply now. Massive concave, poor angle of attack. Looks like Naniwa's unfortunately going to be taken out here on Polar Night, and we see Targa able to muscle his way through to the base. So excellent play out of Targa, able to adapt. Obviously worked out that Naniwa was going for those Void Rays and dropped a phenomenal amount of Queens. We had 12 or 14 Queens on the field at the end of the game, so able to be very cost efficient in those engagements. Those Queens able to transfuse each other and bring down the Void Rays, because Void Rays gain extra damage against armoured units, but unfortunately for Naniwa, Queens aren't armoured, so Targa able to power through Naniwa there, and just great play out of him. And we hope you guys enjoyed it. Great PvZ here on Polar Night. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will catch you in the next cast. Have a great day, guys.